Hello, you're watching TelecomTV. We are at the OPNFV Summit 2016 here in Berlin in Germany, and I'm talking with Dan Pitt, Executive Director of the Open Networking Foundation. Dan, great to see you again.
Thank you, Martin. It's great to be here.
We missed each other by a couple of hours the last time, so I'm glad you're here. Right, let's have a look at this. You're from the Open Networking Foundation. One of the things that's happened recently, OPNFV is just coming up to 2 years old. It's a lusty child. We know there's a lot going on around it. Things are happening, and there's a lot of open source, open in inverted commas, organisations and bodies out there now. What's the difference between Open Networking Foundation and OPNFV?
Well, we are distinct from all the other open organizations.
Yep.
And in this particular case, and I'll tell you why we're here with OPNFV. So we have been the champions of open software-defined networking. And even this morning, Pradeep Sen's presentation talked about open innovation, NFV, and SDN. And whereas 2 or 3 years ago, they were pretty separate circles, they're almost all concentric now. So we have for a long time been the foundation for NFV. And our mission is to accelerate the adoption of open SDN. And so we are very supportive of the Open NFV and other open initiatives about networking. So we do the things we do, which support the provision of NFV on a flexible infrastructure of a network. So they're a sort of an open source framework, mostly doing upstream contributions to a variety of places. And because that's all virtualized functions that they are doing, to effect them in a real network, you need SDN to communicate with the network. That's where we come in.
Great. Okay. You said the things that we do. What are the things that you are doing at the moment?
So we have still essentially 3 strong pillars of our activities. Open SDN, which means interfaces, architectures, information modeling. We're the technical leaders of the common information modeling effort across many organizations. That's the first pillar, is open SDN. The second pillar is open flow, which is the protocol, the southbound protocol from the control plane to the forwarding plane. And the third pillar is open source. So we have been using open source as a vehicle for instantiating some of our architecture, some of our standards, some of our principles in software that someone can actually download, deploy, and learn from and experiment with. So we have a lot of activities in sort of integrating various other pieces of the puzzle in open source that come from perhaps these other organizations. But we have a lot of organizations that are kind of siloed, and how do you make a whole out of these piece parts? OPNFV is actually trying to do that. We're going to control plane and up to OpenStack and cloud orchestration. We work with a variety of these piece parts and just put some things out there to stitch them together and give people something to get their hands dirty on and get some experience with. So that's what our approach is to open source. It's a component of our portfolio.
So what are you doing here? Now we're going to say in the enemy's camp, and at one time it would have been the enemy's camp, but it's not anymore. One of the things that's very interesting about what's happening in the industry, particularly virtualization, cloudification, SDN, NFV, etc., is that it's bringing together as collaborators, companies that have been certainly rivals, competitors, and often daggers drawn rivals at that. There was a time when you might not have even been able to set foot in here. So it is a difference. What do you make of this collaboration of communities that we're seeing as a result of virtualization?
So you're right. There has been and there still is competition between companies, but also there is some competition between organizations like us.
Yep.
We want to actually help this whole movement succeed. And I think we are seeing a lot of cooperation and collaboration between organizations. And the reason it's gotten so prominent is that we are tackling big, hard problems, and no one can solve any of these problems alone. So part of what we do, and which these other organizations are doing, is to build an ecosystem where you have people who sell and people who buy, people who write, people who read what has been written, so that we can actually get working solutions, create a marketplace. Everyone has to make a living. It's changing, it's threatening, it's disruptive. We are trying to help them get through these difficult transitions. in the industry.
You mentioned the ecosystem. What is your role in this? First, is in terms of your job as executive director, and secondly, as far as the Open Networking Foundation is concerned. What are you working on at the moment?
So we have been working on these three pillars, but let me give you some specific examples.
That's what I was looking for.
So OpenFlow started out in data centers, hyperscale data centers, and it's done very well there. But we've helped it adapt to the wide area network. With optical and wireless extensions. We were at the Optical Fiber Conference in March. We have work going on we just did a wireless backhaul proof of concept hosted in Germany by Telefonica. We did an optical one last year, and this enables the telecom operators, and they are really important customers, to actually deploy and get the advantages of SDN and everything that rides above it, like NFV and virtualization, across all the different parts of their network. So that's an important thing that we have done. This kind of arcane subject of information modeling, we put a lot of effort in, and there's been tremendous response from probably 6 or 7 other organizations, from ITUT to IETF, to the TM Forum, to MEF. How do we arrive at some common information models so that you can actually develop and compare products, and you can actually procure best of breed products if you are a network operator?
To round it off, Dan, because we haven't got that much time, let's talk about the role of SDN itself. We were talking off camera about this. Yeah. How does that all fit into the jigsaw? So
SDN provides you the flexible infrastructure. If you look at trying to virtualize certain functions, you still have to perform these functions. And they require the network to behave in a certain way. And as the network functions expand to include things like the Internet of Things, IoT, all the promises of 5G, you need a flexible infrastructure that can change its behavior according to the needs of the traffic and the operator and the businesses that ride thereon. So SDN provides that flexibility in the network behavior using fairly generic switching components and transmission components, all under the control of remote software. So we came here to support OPNFV. We held our interim leadership team meeting here yesterday. It gives us a chance to go to all of their sessions, to see all of our comrades here from the OPNFV organization and others who are here at the same time. We are really a very large and a very happy extended family.
I'm very glad to hear it. Dan Pitt, as usual, thank you.
My pleasure, Martin. Thank you.